Okie dokie. We did 734. 735. Okay. 736. Okay, they see him. Says a line. Okay. So these two can be built on each other. As can those. Okay. Let's rock and roll. Actually, let me check one thing. If we've got this shot, what about this shot versus maybe. Okay. I'm just working out my strategy. So the previous shot shows this. And so the first thing we're going to do actually is we're going to cheat. Okay. And that gives us continuity between those two shots. Oh man, I can't believe I just did that. Okay, did you see what I just did? I just got that thing resized perfectly. Actually, I guess we could turn the opacity down a bit. That would help. And then forgot to hit enter. So we'll adjust that a little bit. Boom. Okay. Now we can take this XV. Okay, so ostensibly that could be making its way over to there. So we will let that be his hand. Okay, so our first step, since we are going to cheat, is to separate out the background. Okay, in this case, let's first we must have a selection, and indeed we did. Okay, and we'll grab this. So all we're doing here is roughing it in to kind of see what we've got. Now these items that are painted in advance can be still inked with good precision using the Bezier curve tool. So not concerned about taking these perimeters of color that may be a little rough-ish and tightening them up at the paint stage. So okay, and then here I make a slight amendment to this drawing. Gonna hit the E key to erase, and while we're doing that, let's see. Okay, well actually, yeah, I was thinking I was in the paint layer. So actually, let's just ballpark this like that. Okay. Again, we're just roughing in. Okay, and I'm going to actually draw an extra line there. And we can tighten this up later. But I think I'm going to make his arms slightly bolder. And then while we're here, let's take this. Now, because we know roughly what the background's going to be at the moment, I think we can probably, it's not going to hurt if it's got a little bit of an edge there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to actually call this background, because it's going to serve as a bit of a model for what's going to ultimately be the background. So let's put that behind our guy, which is kind of useful. Okay. Which helps underscore what we need to do here. I think I probably should use this different brush that gives me a little better edge than my rough paintbrush. Okay. And we're gonna go ahead and get the continuity here, and then for the purposes of this shot, we're going to go ahead and amend this compared to what we had before. Then this can be wrapped around like that, and we'll tighten up the details of that later. Okay, so now one thing I'm seeing, so there is a method to the madness here, in that I kind of have a, if you will, a performance goal in mind for this particular sequence of shots. I'm not going to say at this point what that goal is, because that way I'm not going to be totally embarrassed when I miss it spectacularly, which definitely could happen. Okay, what I'm going to do is grab this color. It's not totally essential that I nail this color perfectly. Okay. Yeah, that's a little bit. Scrawny. This guy is not scrawny. Okay. Now that's going to animate. So let's do this. Let's go in and take this. And first of all, we're actually going to push it up here a little bit. And then all I want to do is give it some randomness that's going to hide the edge. So I'm doing this in erase mode. Okay. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and insert an animation key here. And rather than put it on 3s, let's see, it's, I would say, 1/4 of a second. So A. We'll put that there. And I'm going to say, let's do a okay. That basically works. Okay. Now here, okay, that's the local color of his vest, so let's get this in here. This guy's, and I'm going to go ahead and paint over the texture, because it's going to look a lot better if I just repaint the texture. Okay, so here we're gonna again just get the local color of this in here. And okay, I see what I did. So yeah, that hand holding a blade is actually this guy. It's kind of a little bit problematic since I didn't include the blade in every shot that came later. Well, that's why working forward in some ways is better than working backwards, but not a big tragedy, not a big tragedy. Okay, let's grab that. Well, actually, let's get that tightened up first. Boom. I'm going to shrink that down a little bit. And if I recall, and that's, I don't know, it's probably because it's pasted in. Krita's a little funny about cutting and pasting when it can cause fill operations to go pretty haywire, which appears to be what's happened here. Okay, and I guess why don't we've already got the shadow area there, so let's go ahead and just fill this in. I don't know if what I just said actually made any sense, but it made sense to me. Boom, boom. So we're definitely going to have to put a little bit of shadowing in there. And, of course, what we can do here is fit in a little bit of that and go ahead and put in that trim. Let's pull out and make sure the proportions look okay. Obviously his arm is disappearing into nothingness, and there's actually a reason for that that we'll get to shortly, which is basically the hand. Okay. I think, let's go back to the storyboard. I think what I'm going to actually do here is sword. Yeah, there's nowhere else in the show where we're seeing swords. So the obvious answer here is to simply take the sword out and call it a mistake. And if that's the case, we can go ahead and finish this guy out, more or less. Boom, 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 boom. We'll give him a little bit of beef. Okay, let me see. So this is a very different approach than I normally take, because I've almost never done this, where I'm smacking in the color ahead of the drawing. But that's okay. If it works, it works. So let's go back and look at this. Okay, so his vest, okay. So this actually comes down and pretty much dovetails into a belt type situation. Remember, this is going to be pretty dark, by the way. We've got a little bit of latitude. Okay, and then it's actually this color that's kind of a kilt, I guess you might say. It's a kilt situation. Wonder if I can fill that. Kinda, but not really. Kinda, sorta, but not really. Man, I'm talking like, what's his face? Bob Ross. Fluffy little clouds. Okay. Okay, I don't like this. And obviously to a degree, that's going to be obscured by the you know, I don't even know what I was just about to say. Okay, let's take this out. Alright, and now let's just go ahead and deal with this right now. Boom. And this can be actually solo that layer. So the question obviously is whether this is really speeding things up to any respectable degree. And it's definitely going to help from a continuity standpoint. Just because the character is going to be consistent between the two shots. Okay, that's fine. Let's give this a little bit more character, if you will. Okay. And I'm going to say, let's grab his arm. Yikes. And let's just see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Right arm. Whoops. Hit the wrong hotkey there. Alright. I'm going to clean this up a bit. And this can go ahead and... Okay. That's basically it for this guy. Okay. So now, think about this for half a second. This is a little off to me. Okay. Okay, so the background was only there to serve as a guide, really, for the background painting in terms of the color tonality of it. Okay. So now I'm going to take, let's see, what is this? That's his hand. And we'll call that left hand. Okay? Got that? We put those in a group, and we'll call this group Old Soldier. Okay? And for now, we'll just turn him back off. This is our sketch. So now we're going to create a new group. We'll call this Young Soldier. And this is going to be our ink layer. And I should be able to just improv this. Although I must say, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just doodle this guy. Improv style. So let's take the brush with stabilizer and take our primary outline color we've been using, and here we go. Boom, 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 boom. So I'm just sort of trusting that I can more or less nail the character without a lot of finagling. Okay, so this drawing is actually wrong in that this guy has a beard like this, no mustache. And because this is a wide shot, I think we can just put his face mostly in shadow. Okay. Yeah, when I drew this in the storyboard, I'm not exactly sure what I was thinking about the motion. This guy's... Yeah, okay. This guy's got a little different design to his. Oh brother, I don't even know what you'd call it. It's sort of a sort of a leather shielding type of situation. No, it's not enough of a curve. Okay. Out. Again, a little bit of latitude here since it's pretty tiny on the screen, but obviously I just made it stupidly big. Okay. Interesting. Okay, let's turn this guy. Alright, let's think about this for half a second. Pushes it out of the way. I think that's all you need to do. So actually, I'm going to give this guy a little bit more distance. Back here. I just think that looks compositionally better. And so now we've established, yeah, that really does look better. Okay, so the only thing that's going to happen here is the old soldier essentially pushes the foliage out of the way. So therefore what I can do here is close up these shapes so that they're going to be paintable. And all we're going to see is what this guy's going to do. Therefore, okay, we already animated this. Okay. So let's go here, put in a key. So yeah, we said half a second, or a quarter of a second actually. Okay. Just gonna sew that together. Ah, shoot. My bad. Okay. Okay, so let's put oh, here we go. So what I'm doing basically is kludging together the the bones of the shot, essentially what's going to be a little bit challenging about the shot. You know, let's get that right. So I'm going to make some of these a little bigger. Let's just go ahead and color this in. We're going to get a little bit of light popping in here because of the because of the fire. Okay, so let's insert a key there. And let's try. Let's add just a little bit more noise here, but then let's just try erasing out of it and see if that works. If it doesn't work, we haven't lost much. Okay. Now let's make this make a little more sense by going to the background. And let's go ahead and paint this in with a little bit of foliage activity back there, because these guys are sort of coming through in the woods. So let's just see if that first initial motion worked. And I would say it did. The only caveat being the dude's hat changes. Oh, and that's because I put the fix in the wrong layer. Well, that was dumb. So let's just grab this and hit delete. Delete. And I'm going to say we're going to actually leave that alone. Cool. So now what we're going to do is save this, and we will save it as a Krita file. I really need to be saving my work more often. Okay. I think this guy pretty much done other than ink detail and texture. So let's deal with this guy. So let's turn this off, turn this off, turn this off. Let's get this guy dealt with. At this point, this sketch isn't doing anything for us, so let's get rid of it. And for this guy, I'm going to go ahead and color him in behind mode. So fill, behind, and all I'm going to do is, like before, I'm just going to cheat. I'm going to grab this, drag this in to here as a new layer, and I'm going to select just everything that gives me the colors for this guy. Then hit delete. Whoops, that's moving the selection. So I need to hit enter, and then this should be a fairly rapid operation. Okay, so we're here. We're in fill mode. Boom, behind, boom, behind. That's wrong. Actually, that should be that color, because we're going to deal with the shadows separately. Okay, this is going to be wrong. I should say it's not going to fill successfully, so we need to touch that up. Okay. Fill. And now we can go through, deal with this, this, that. We're just going to fake his belt. We'll give a flesh tone here. And now let's go back into normal mode and just take the brush and kind of paint over this and fix this up. We'll let his other arm be actually kind of in the back. Now, we better make sure that's, yeah, that's okay. Okay, and, by the way, importantly, let's take this guy, insert a key. One could argue this is not the brightest move possible, in the sense that anything I have to do to the art after I move him is going to have to be redone. So what I'm going to do is put this guy in, put everything in, and then set the keys on this guy. Actually, it's this layer. Okay, let's turn this off. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set this to partial transparency, like so. That was easy. Alright, and I'm just going to and I'm basically moving him over so that we're actually hiding the fact that his arm is not drawn. Okay, so we'll see how this goes. Okay, and I say we continue this. Okay, let's just see. Okay, I think that'll work. Okay, so now what we'll do is go back here to the background and start doing the fix-up that's going to get the background a little bit closer to where it's supposed to be. A little bit of tree action here. Boom. Okay. And a little bit of the darker stuff right here. Okay, but in the foreground, actually, I want to have it like so. I want this to be a little bit more yellowish. Okay, see if we're... Okay, why did our foreground... Oh, that was dumb. My bad. Easy to fix though. Easy to fix. Here's how you fix it. What I wanted to do was put this section over top of both keys, so I'm just going to Control X, Control V. Now that touch-up is in a separate layer, and we'll delete this extra key. Problem solved. Okay, now the one thing I'm not liking about all of this is I'm going to say, let's do it this way. Let's hit the eraser, and let's actually just erase out of this. Okay, so that we can actually have a second layer of background behind it that we're then going to ease in some of this sense of the moonlight behind them. And maybe, since this is in front, let's go ahead and chisel just a little something back here that might suggest some sort of rocky activity. And now what I'm going to do is actually go ahead and put that glow back over that just a bit like that. Okay. Okay. Fine. Now, question. Let's see. Let's insert a key. Save this. Okay. Now we're going to fix up guy number 1. Guy number 2, we're going to leave him. I think the question of whether he should even be whether we even need to put the details on him is highly questionable. Let's go with this guy and let's start finishing him up. Okay. Boom, boom. He's got 2 keys. Okay. So we're going to redo the second key. I said I could use the Bezier curve tool. Honestly, with this dark background behind him, I don't really think I even need to. Let's just scribble it in there. I do want to make, since he was shrunk down from a larger drawing, I do want to make the ink on the facial features a little bit bolder so we're not losing them. So obviously that animation key will clearly have to be redone. But all in all, not a bad look. Okay, those outlines are basically useless. Over here, they're going to be a little more important. Boom. you know what? It doesn't matter. These outlines actually are on the wrong layer at this moment. Yeah, in fact, okay, actually there's a bunch of stuff that's on the wrong layer. I will continue forward correcting for that, but that was kind of a major botch. Well, it's not like I haven't done that 800 trillion times. I have done that a zillion times. Let's get back here. Okay. What have I done a zillion times? Oh, made tweaks to the shot only to discover that I had been drawing in the wrong layer. But you know, honestly, if things are going well, we're making progress. Who cares? Who cares, man? Okay, this I think is it's a little questionable. It's a little questionable. Boom. This is actually going to be a nightmare because of the animation keys. You know what I think the solution is? I think the solution is to take these two layers and marry them together. That forces them. But I lose my outlines. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, it's easy enough to fix. We fix it like this. And then we redo the key. No big deal. So let's finish up this correctly now with shadows. Okay, so we'll lock alpha and boom baby, we're gonna hit some shadows here now. So this is just to generally get the tonality of the situation, since he is got the moon at his back. Now, you could definitely argue that, yeah, but he's got the campfire at his front. But that campfire isn't really like a roaring fire or anything. So we're going to do this. And then, okay, let's try that. Let's take a really obnoxious yellow and see if we can actually sneak it in here in a way that kind of sort of actually looks good. I don't think it will, but we can try. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to take this. I'm even going to put a little bit in his eyes. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a blur. Yeah, you could fiddle around with it and try to find a way to make it work, but for me it's not really working. So I'm just going to skip that. Okay, so anything else we need? Yeah, we probably should do one more shadow layer down here. Whoops. Yeah, we're not going to use yellow. Okay, we'll get a little bit of a shadow in there. And I would say that'll do the trick. Yeah. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this, these three, and let's save our work. I think we can just hit Control E and bake them together. Yep, problem solved. So now we take this key, just drag it to here, hit the animation, or the free transform tool I should say, and rock and roll. Guys, that kind of worked. Okay, a little bit of a caveat is that number one, that should be more up like that, and that should come down like that. Okay. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, I like that. So now, let's take this guy, oh, okay, that's the entire guy. Okay, let's take this guy, and what are we going to do here? We're going to go, so he's got these keys on him, but I think he could move in from a shadow situation. Let's get rid of that color key. So here's how we're going to do it. He's moving up and in. I'm going to insert a key. I'm going to take a chance here and see if I can do it this way. I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to try. So I'm going to go like this. Go like that. Okay. Well, no big deal. All we got to do now is go into erase mode. Pretty simple to me. With one little caveat that I just realized, which is that I'm not buying his overall, yeah, I hate to do it, but his overall shadow situation is not quite sufficient, so let's fix that. I really want to kind of have a little bit of shadowing here. Definitely something here. Okay, so like I said, this is unfortunate because there's not really an easy way to make this work other than to do the same thing I did before and hope that I can kind of sort of get it to line up. So that one's okay. This one, I say let's just go ahead and re-animate these. I mean, come on, the guy's moving. The shadows are going to jump around a bit. And this gives us an easy opportunity to build some authenticity into the shot by just letting the shadows evolve a little bit. In this case, I think maybe I can actually fudge it a little bit. That we don't want to do. Tilt it over. We'll just see if that worked. And did we go to 15? We went to 15. So I'm going to say, let's just insert a key. B key. Now we want to be pretty meticulous with this one because this is where the shot lands. So once he stops moving, this is what we're going to see. So let's make sure this one's extra, extra, extra tight. Boom. And by the way, technically there is trim on this guy's uniform that is glaringly absent. He's a background character. He's in shadow. I don't care. I don't care. I just don't care. Boom. That looks pretty good to me. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go like this. Okay, so compositionally, not the best shot I've ever done. Almost an hour. Okay, and one little glitch on this guy. Right here. See that little issue? Okay. We can fix that quite simply. Hello? We must have a selection. What's going on here? I'm painting onto this layer. Okay, here's some obnoxious red. And, oh, I see. No, actually I don't see. There's something about the alpha channel going on here that has to do with marrying together the shadow with locked alpha. I would almost bet on it. So let me try this one more time. I'm going to isolate the layer. Oh. Okay. Ah, duh. It's the left hand that's the problem here. Okay. My bad. My bad. And I think what we could do here, though, is we could go ahead and delineate that. We'll just put in a sneaky hint right there. And we better save our work. Save early, save often. Dudes. I'm going to add a line of dialogue. I'm going to put in yes. We're going to go boom. I'm going to put in a mouth. And we're going to put in a key here, insert, and then let's just jump to 24. And we're going to have him say, oops. What's this? Okay. Now we're going to take that layer. I'm going to turn its opacity down. I feel like I turned it down a little too much there, folks. Yep, something like that. Let's look at that. Natural size. And rewind. What's this? Perfect. Because the very next thing you're going to see is Luca. Evening, gentlemen. Excellent. Okay. From here on out, things should in fact be speeding up a bit. So, this shot, as far as I'm concerned, rocked and rolled. Alright, so we're going to do a couple things here. Number one, let's call this what it is, which is 735.ping. Okay. Now before I do that, I'm going to go to the folder 735. I'm going to make a copy and rename it thumbnail. Why? Because it's going to wind up being a YouTube thumbnail. Okay. So now that really could be deleted. No need to keep it around. So now we got this. Save that. Okay. Now we're going to take the thumbnail here and we're going to copy it back to the storyboard so that the storyboard is updated. Let's replace that. Go down here and we can see that the last two shots are flowing pretty nicely. I will say that there may be actually a glitch that I've just introduced without thinking in that. Let's see here. Okay, so let's look at the last shot. 734 Krita. Yeah, I think I fouled up here. Nope, actually no. This works out fine. So he's going to go like that. Boom. Boom. Yeah, those will edit together great, actually. Whew, thank you. Well, when you're moving fast, it's easy to lose details. Boom. Boom. I think I already saved that. Let's look at the folder. And we did. So I'm not going to save the ping. Actually, I'm just going to resave the Krita. So save as a Krita document. And there it is. So that shot's done. Okay. Moving right along. We're going to 736. There's Luca. Boom. Boom. Okay. Now, the question becomes, is there anything anywhere that we can steal? I think that orientation of his face is probably wrong. I think Luke is so easy to draw, we'll just redo him. Right? So, we're going to call this ink. Okay, and let's think about this for a moment. We're going to have him go, we're going to have him perk up. We better turn on the stabilizer if I'm going to try to do this cold. Yeah, and like maybe not the color red. Wow. Actually, you know what? I'm going to stop here because really this should go into another video. So we'll stop, and as you know, there will be more later. And it'll be this shot.